Now, let's take the social question of whether aliens visit our world, recognizing that they exist, and suppose that this actually happens despite all the physical barriers, including the light-year walls that separate us. Almost 50 years have passed since the first UFOs were seen. When we think that at least one of thousands of such observations is a real alien visitation, a question comes to mind. If we had spaceships and similar technologies belonging to these aliens and traveled tens of light years to their planets, would we or would we not establish official communication with those creatures with this wonderful equipment and high knowledge we have? Can't we at least say, we came, we live here? No, we would travel these distances and appear in the sky of a city for a few seconds and then come back, I said. I don't think anyone will say anything. It is very interesting that people who take alien visitation seriously believe that aliens who built a spaceship to visit other planets and set off to visit other planets come this far and come back without saying hello. Personally, I find the claims a little surprising because they don't want to scare us or expect us to improve a bit. Although it seems impossible, I respect materialist philosophy and the claim of alien visitation as an idea, as a thought, unless it is used as a material for randomness. This topic, namely UFO and extraterrestrial intelligent life, is quite broad, but it should be examined in terms of limiting factors. When the issue is examined in a social and physical way, it can be reduced to a dimension that almost everyone can understand. At the outset, let's say that the word UFO means unidentified flying object, not a spaceship, contrary to popular belief. Because this word is derived from the initials of the sentence, unidentified flying object, in English. In other words, everything that is in flight, may be only seen for a very short time, or may be seen from a distance, is not understood. Even a balloon that a small child misses is classified as a UFO if those who see it do not understand what is happening from afar, because those who saw it could not determine what it was, even though it was flying. If we look at the physical dimensions of the alleged visits, we come across some insurmountable obstacles. Under normal circumstances, we have to think that our alien friends who can visit us are from our own galaxy and are relatively close to us. Since there is no other planet with intelligent life in our solar system other than Earth, it would be reasonable to start with the nearest stars. Until now, we have not been able to visually detect another planet orbiting a star other than the Sun. As a result of the small vibrations of some gravitational effects on the star, we can only suspect that there is a planet around it, that's all. It is not currently possible for us to see a planet around another star with a telescope or any other instrument, because this is just like the example I'm going to give right now. Although we can see the bright headlight when the headlights of a distant car are turned towards us, we cannot see a firefly hovering next to the headlight. Not only is the firefly's light not strong enough to reach far, but the car's headlights are bright enough to lose it. The light reflected by a planet is even lower than the firefly next to the headlight in the example, next to the star around it. That is, it is currently impossible to determine whether a planet around another star is suitable for life, or even whether there is a planet there. Assuming the aliens in question have the technology to get around this, they would need to have other data to visit those on a planet they see, such as whether there is intelligent life there. The only data they can determine that we are here is the television and radio-like broadcasts we make. The invention of the radio is still very new. The first radio broadcasts on Earth have now reached a distance of up to 80 light years. That is, no one further away can be aware that we are here. The entire scientific world agrees that there is no alternative but to understand that we are here from the radio signals escaping into space. In this case, we cannot expect our prospective visitors 80 light years away. Even this distance is valid if they receive the first radio signals, set off at that moment, come here in 1 second and arrive on Earth today. Even assuming that their so-called ships are traveling at the speed of light, we need to reduce the actual distance to 40 light years since it would take them about 80 years to get here. We have to admit that visitors are 40 light years away, they hear us in the 40th year, and they travel for 40 years. Also, considering that the first and most intense UFO sightings have been since the first radio signals were discovered in the 1950s. Only 30 years old in these years, the distance will decrease further. Thus, in these years, when radio waves have reached a distance of only 30 years, it will be sufficient to examine stars within 15 light years, not 40, to investigate claims about our alien visitors. Claims that magnificent artifacts and celestial calculations in ancient Egypt, Cambodia, Angkor, and Mexican civilizations were taught or made by aliens are impossible, as there was no outside publication at that time. Because at that time there were no signs to lure these aliens who came to teach. Returning to the situation at a distance of 15 light years, there are about 50 stars at spherical distances within a radius of 15 light years from the Earth. The closest of these, Proxima Centauri, is about 4.3 light years away. Concorde, currently the fastest passenger aircraft in the world, can travel this distance in 2,454,337, 2,454,337 years. The space shuttle, on the other hand, has to travel at top speed for at least 175,000 years to reach here. Assuming that aliens have very fast, around the speed of light, ships, let's avoid this challenge and look at other aspects of the issue. There are many obstacles that reduce the possibility of the mentioned 50 stars at a distance of 15 light years to have planetary systems with life. In order for any star to provide a suitable environment for life, it must have certain characteristics. To see this, it is useful to take a look at the star classification system. Stars are examined in 7 classes among themselves. Each star falls into one of the classes from large to small, O, B, A, F, G, K, M, according to its size and brightness. For example, the Sun is a G-class star. That is, a below-average yellow-white small star. In addition, each class is divided into 10 subgroups and 8 brightness groups. For example, if we consider the Sun again, we understand that it is classified as G2V, that is, it is a yellow dwarf of class G. Because very massive stars, especially class O, B, A, and largely F, die by depleting their fuel too quickly, they are rare and unsuitable for feeding life with their short lifetimes and unstable structures. The smallest and faintest stars, M-class and K-class, are still insufficient to host life and planetary systems. In this case, we need to look for the G and to some extent K-class stars nearby. There are 3 stars in this group at a distance of 15 light years and closer. These are 2 stars in the Centauri system, 4.3 light years away, and Epsilon Eridani, 10 light years away. Since the 2 stars in the Alpha Centauri system form a triple star system orbiting each other and sharing systems with a third, it has been calculated that they cannot have a stable planetary system like ours due to their gravitational imbalances. Therefore, we have to eliminate the star called Alpha Centauri A, which is almost identical to the Sun and its neighbor. Only Epsilon Eridani remains. This star, on the other hand, is a very young star with an age of around 500 million years, and it still needs a lot of time before a settled planetary system can form around it. As can be seen, there are no planetary systems that can host life in our close region, at least in our region close enough to be aware of, even if they have achieved the technological possibilities to the fullest. It doesn't make much sense to look further, because it's hard to believe that there are more stars and planets in the universe than grains of sand in the sea, and living things that will come and find them by chance without knowing that we are here. Now, let's take the social question of whether aliens visit our world, recognizing that they exist, and suppose that this actually happens despite all the physical barriers, including the light-year walls that separate us. Almost 50 years have passed since the first UFOs were seen. When we think that at least one of thousands of such observations is a real alien visitation, a question comes to mind. If we had spaceships and similar technologies belonging to these aliens and traveled tens of light years to their planets, would we or would we not establish official communication with those creatures with this wonderful equipment and high knowledge we have? Can't we at least say, we came, we live here? No, we would travel these distances and appear in the sky of a city for a few seconds and then come back, I said. I don't think anyone will say anything. It is very interesting that people who take alien visitation seriously believe that aliens who built a spaceship to visit other planets and set off to visit other planets come this far and come back without saying hello. Personally, I find the claims a little surprising because they don't want to scare us or expect us to improve a bit. Although it seems impossible, I respect materialist philosophy and the claim of alien visitation as an idea, as a thought, unless it is used as a material for randomness.